I guess Mando is back to being a semi-competent character, so that's nice. Granted, we're talking about a badass bounty hunter who walks into a lake to drown to death, so the bar is very low, but at least he's not going full retard again. Unfortunately, we are still left with the same problem. He's not a man, but a superhero. With his literal plot armor, he fights massively overpowered CGI monsters that crush him, throw him around, punch him in the face, and he takes absolutely no damage whatsoever. So really, what's the point and how is that supposed to be engaging to watch? Like Superman, the character only works if there's a good story behind him, otherwise it's just a brain-dead, endless, meaningless movie. And that's what The Mandalorian and Grogu is. It's dull and uninteresting, which of course is to be expected now that franchises have turned into content. We all know that half the audience hasn't watched the 3 different shows this movie is based on, so since we can't rely on what happened before, we can't tell a complex story. And since the next piece of content also can't depend too much on this one, everything has to be deliberately inconsequential. Half the characters are just here to be here, the pilot dude is here, that's nice. And look, it's Zeb. You know that guy from that 4th different show? Well, now he's here. It doesn't matter that you don't know any of these people because they're not doing anything of value. They have no personality, no purpose, nothing to say. You could swap them out with anyone else and the movie would not change. Some of the aliens are so distractingly human-sounding, it feels like they grabbed random people in the streets to voice them. Then you get bizarre dialogue like,
"We'll take out every bad guy in your deck of cards."
Who the fuck talks like this to a colonel about former SS members? Is this supposed to appeal to kids the same way Ripley is supposed to appeal to the grown-ups? She's the trinity of this movie, by the way, a marketing tool you see just as much in the trailer as in the movie. Rota is your standard modern character, constantly talking about his feelings and trauma dumping every 5 seconds like a loser. And then there's the random hermit guy who shows up for 3 minutes, saves Mando, and disappears. What's the point of even having him here if he doesn't teach Grogu anything? What's funny is that Grogu already force-healed Mando earlier, but apparently that wasn't enough, and it's this random dude who ends up saving him. So the movie undermines Grogu's only meaningful action just to prop up some completely inconsequential character. It's weird. Force healing is still a shit mechanic, by the way, stop doing it. But the real reason the movie is dull is the premise they refused to move past after season 2. We're still stuck with Daddy and the baby going on adventures together, which in theory isn't even a bad concept if the characters have a great dynamic, and they do. The problem is that we are still alternating between the same "don't do that" and "don't eat that" jokes. It's funny in 2019, less funny in 2020, and by 2026 it makes you want to die. But of course the dynamic hasn't evolved. It's a 50-year-old baby. He's not going to change in 2 seasons. He was a Padawan too young to have learned anything, and now he's an apprentice Mandalorian, still too young to learn anything. So that's fun. You can't give him character development at the same pace as Mando, so the whole relationship is fundamentally stuck. We're trapped in this loop where the only thing Grogu can do is show affection toward his adoptive father. That's it. He tries to rescue Mando at one point, but he shows up in a ship for ants, because, of course he does, so Mando physically can't fit inside. Who writes this shit? At some point they clearly wanted a cute Baby Yoda solo adventure, then realized it would be too boring and stupid to let him be on his own, so they compromised by adding 4 other baby-like puppets to preserve the cute vibe. You don't think it's a problem that the character whose name is in the title of your movie can't be left alone for 5 minutes? Maybe that's why they added the weird hermit guy. They genuinely can't let him carry the movie for even 2 seconds. Or maybe they simply think we're too stupid to understand what's happening without dialogue. In any case, it's nice to have the hermit dude because he gives a quick recap to the people waking up from their nap. I appreciate that the movie isn't a giant cameo fest, but stripping all that away really exposes how dependent the show is on them. Without cameo, there's just nothing. No cool characters, no interesting plot points, no tension. I don't know, it's a bounty hunter story. Can we maybe get some actual bounty hunter shit? Tracking a target, planning an extraction, infiltrating somewhere, anything? Just copy the Aldani arc from Endor. He joins a crew with a job to do, and you've got everything you need. Infiltration, tension, interpersonal drama, double crosses, high risks, high rewards. Something goes wrong, you get your huge set piece for the finale, and voila, there's your movie. But no, we're still playing WoW, questing from place to place without even getting new epic gear drops anymore. We are so creatively bankrupt that we're recycling scenes from episode 2 and presenting them like some huge new payoff. Baby Yoda already force-lifted a giant monster 23 episodes ago. Can we move on? I'd love to say that the movie was at least somewhat entertaining on a dumb fun level, but it isn't. We alternate between pointless cinematic boss fights and slowly walking through hallways like a modern video game. And of course, it falls into the classic trap of placing the emotional low point way too late in the story. So the last 30 minutes just drag while we wait for Mando to wake up and finish the film on easy mode. We already had the sad moment, so now nothing matters because the cool music is playing. I can crash my ship into the enemy base and obviously it won't explode or anything. Anyway, like Yoda says, shit your movie maybe, but fun it must at least be.